Hello, and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content we have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura, and as always, I'm joined by Mike Smith, award-winning director Brian Redondo, and Savon Jones, aka Captain Vonnie. This is episode 25. Y'all, we hit the quarter century mark. And on today's show, we'll tell you what we're loving. Wesley and Savon get roasted crispy style, and we'll have a non-spoiler discussion about Breath of the Wild, a game some might describe as the best video game ever made. Before we get into the show, you'll hear our pre-show discussion because it revealed an unexpected bombshell about Savon. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and well, hey, if it's not, you can always ask us for a refund.
Hey, are we actually talking about Breath of the Wild?
I thought that would be cool, and you guys always kind of talk about it, but I don't know anything about the game.
That's Mike and Brian, right? I didn't play Breath of the Wild.
You didn't play it?
What?
I don't
you
even
own
have
a
that game.
Switch. What
don't
is
even have
wrong
that
with
game.
Jesus Christ? Savon owns a Switch and he's never played the best.
Yeah, I pretty much use my
Oh
Switch.
my lord!
I play
It's
Smash.
unbelievable. It's like this guy is like,
I wish
just
this came out during the pod.
Just
What?
put it in. Just put this as the intro.
What?
And you play open world games?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
I do.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
It's like Savon is just such an enigma, and he literally does it purposely.
I'm not. You think I'm doing this? You think I'm doing this to upset
It's
you?
just-
No, I don't think you're contrarian though. You're just like not
Then
on
you
it.
clearly don't know Savon well enough.
No, what? Dude, I
Savon
didn't do anything.
isn't contrarian and like I'm gonna hop from like this side of the fence to the other side of the fence. Savon is like, I'm not gonna have an opinion. I'm gonna sit on the fence and I'm gonna viciously agree with
Defend the
everybody.
fence.
Yeah, exactly.
I disagree with stuff all the time.
When we expand into Confidently Wrong Media, Savon will have his own show called Defend the Fence, where it's just like the anti-take show.
I feel like he's like not even defending the fence. He's just sitting there and looking up at the clouds
Yeah.
while everybody else is arguing.
That is literally Savon, bro.
I can't argue because like,
It's like, ooh, that's a rhino.
I'm really just sitting here like, but what's wrong with wanting to know both sides?
I'm with Savon on
All
that.
right,
I like
all
the
right.
both
Well,
sides,
can we
you know?
put like point one in or like the intro to that segment
Yeah.
talking about how Savon hasn't played it and just shaming
We can do it.
Savon
We
for
can do a little flashback. That's really funny. Okay, well, we'll talk about that.
I can't believe Savon. It's like the best open world game ever.
I mean, I've played a little bit of it, but I don't own it.
What? How does that even happen?
I played it by my friend. And I watched him
Borrow
play.
it.
It's a dope. No, it's a dope. No, I used to watch. No, I used to watch
I
my
don't care
homie.
if you've watched it. That literally means absolutely nothing.
Now, my homie used to fight. What is it, Lionels?
Yeah.
No, I don't know the story at all.
Lionels.
But I used to watch my homie. He used to be like, he had an in game just badass, and he would just be like, "Yo, Savon, watch me just fight this dope shit." I'm like,
What
"All
is
right,
the
word."
obstacle here? Like, what can we do to get? All right, you know what? We'll save it for
It's just other
the
shit I'm
show.
playing.
We'll save. You play Apex. It's a free multiplayer game. Just spice in.
But I'm on the 2-100 initiative.
Oh my god.
Plus, I still gotta finish Ghost of Tsushima. Also, I'm just
how many
my-
people above the age of 10, Brian, do you think own a Switch and haven't played? Breath
Also,
of the
my
Wild?
black card requires I
what-
play a certain quota
One.
of 2K.
Yeah,
GTA.
Exactly. Like I was helping my brother with GTA heists.
you have no excuse.
Yeah, whatever.
All right, well, we'll start where we always start on this type of episode. We're starting with what we're loving. And just to give you a sense of where we're at right now, Mike, what are you into this week?
I feel like the PlayStation 5 is like really on the cusp of actually becoming the PlayStation 5 and not just like the PlayStation Plus or the PlayStation Pro Plus. You know, like we actually have games coming out. So what I've been doing lately is I got back into Demon Souls. It's the third From Software game I've tried. For those of you that don't know, From Software, Dark Souls, Bloodborne, just the whole point is how difficult and unforgiving the games are. I've started and quit 3 times, but this one I'm doing with a guide. Shout out Richard Murray, friend of the show. who said, just read the shit, it'll tell you where to go. So that's an actual native PS5 game, and it's really cool. You get the haptics, the graphics are actually next level. You get the 3D audio. It's a really cool PS5 game. Returnal just came back, and actually one of the first episodes we ever did on the show, I like just tore into the name Returnal.
You really
for, like,
hated it.
Returnal
half an hour.
returned.
And it is kind of like a dumb name for a roguelite, but I'm excited for that. That's a PS5 game that just came out. And then there's a lot of new footage for the new Ratchet and Clank game, which looks really awesome. That's actually going to be like, and we talked about this earlier on in the show, like one of the first few episodes, how that's going to be like the first game that can really use the PlayStation hardware in a creative way. So like, because it's like the multiverse kind of thing, you can load into different universes instantly, which is a completely new kind of thing that you're able to do because of the baked in solid state drive.
One might argue Miles Morales already started to take advantage.
Well, yeah, but that's also a PS4 game. It's
Yeah,
not
it
a
was a
native
PS4
PS5
game,
game, so
optimized and
your
whatnot.
ceiling is a lot lower. And then lastly, they just announced that the new Battlefield game is going to be exclusive to next gen, which I know neither of y'all probably really care about, particularly Brian. But it is going to be cool because the whole thing with Battlefield is the
It's boring.
scale of the shit.
Oh,
So
sorry.
it's really big.
Not
First
where
of
you were
all-
going with that.
First,
Gotcha.
no, it's not where I was going, but it's fine. Yeah, Savon's face is very disparaging right now, and I feel supported by that. So thank you, Savon.
all good.
The whole
I'm just
thing
glad
with-
to know that BF stands for Battlefield and not what I thought it stood for.
what
In
does
your
friend
notes.
stand for?
Anyway,
Boyfriend,
boyfriend?
Boyfriend.
Ratchet and Clank, and boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're actually
I'm playing
a
that new
polyamorous
Boyfriend
couple.
3.
They're in an open relationship. You know, Ratchet's dating Clank, and Clank is dating this other guy. It's a whole thing.
Free love.
Anyway, yeah, Battlefield, you know, giant matches, destructible environments, so it's clear that the PlayStation 5 will be able to take advantage of that. So it's like, I'm actually really excited and happy playing a PS5 game. I have another actual PS5 game I'll play after I finish this, and there's just been a lot of news coming out, so I just think it's a really exciting time to like actually be playing this console. And the crazy thing is, like, there's still very much way higher demand than supply, so I think most people still aren't able to get them. So I've just been like really into the games I've had, and then I'm also just like excited for what's coming.
If you were to pick one of these games for us as a group to play,
Ratchet and Clank.
Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah,
I think would be the one.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never played a Ratchet and Clank game.
I don't
Me
know if
neither.
any of you get,
They look
they're
great,
like they're very
Yeah.
much selling it as like you can play this one for your first time. Also, there is a free one out if you have only if you have a PS5. I don't know. You might be able to actually get it, Brian, on the play at home shit. But they have it in the PlayStation Plus
So
collection.
much
They
bleeping
have
is going to have to happen in this episode.
They have the one that came out, and it's actually really good. They just updated it for 60 frames per second, so I'd recommend it. But
Okay.
easily, it's a good question, and easily Ratchet and Clank. I really think it's going to be like
All right,
a
maybe I'll check
huge
it out.
thing
When's the
for
release
console.
date? Do you know?
I
It's
think
not a thing.
June. I think in
Oh,
June.
that's
End
soon.
of June.
Oh, perfect. Nice
Yeah.
summertime game for us to play around with.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you got one more on there.
Oh, you know, I would be remiss without saying Apex. We've been playing a lot of Apex lately. They have a big season coming up. It's been a lot of fun. They're nerfing my character, so shout out everyone listening to the show that plays the game and has been revived for me, mainly Savon, but also other people.
Mostly me too.
Yeah, I mean they've just really, I think like
Yeah, it's going to really rebalance the game.
yeah,
in a
I think
different way, so it'll
Warzone
change.
has really dropped the ball. They clearly are pumping a lot of money into marketing for the new season, and it's still not pulling our group back, and I think most of the people we played the game with aren't playing it. So it's just been
Not really.
exciting to have that. So I think there's a lot of quality games out right now, which is cool.
Cool. Brian?
So what I'm loving besides the New York effing Knicks,
Yeah, you know.
Oh my
shout
goodness.
We've gone
playoff
10 and
game.
Yeah,
1.
because I've been hating on the Knicks
In the
for
last
years,
11.
and y'all
Hell
have
yeah.
like a competent team. Tom Thibodeau's done it. Julius Randle is my least favorite player.
Who would
like,
have
for
thought?
ages, and I'm like, for all the hate in my heart,
Mine
I'm like,
too.
hey,
I
man,
hated him.
Dude doesn't
Is
just
he really
babe-
balling out though, or is he
He
still making?
is.
Is he just
It's real.
reducing some of his mistakes, but still
It's
making
real.
them?
No, his shooting percentages,
Yeah.
all his averages are.
He doesn't
all
just
way up.
Beyblade into a turnover
Um,
anymore.
No,
I don't know what that
Uh,
means, but I
he
can
do an
imagine
ugly
it 'cause
spin
I've
move.
watched
I
him
like
play
it.
for many
He
years.
was definitely Beyblading, whatever that was last year. But besides that, I want to talk about two really excellent co-op games that I've been playing the past week. One digital, one physical. The first digital, It Takes Two,
Hell yeah.
on PS4 or PS5. Great co-op game. I don't, a lot of people are talking about how it's kind of like the pinnacle of co-op games, right? So a lot,
Whoa.
especially like couch co-op, because a lot of those types of games you get on other systems, on like the Switch and stuff, and usually they're like 2D and whatever. This is like a 3D third person world. You play a husband and wife character who are on the brink of divorce. And they get shrunken down into like little dolls and have to navigate a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of universe.
Savannah is very confused.
And it's really fun. I play with Anna, spouse of the show. Spouse of
my
me.
Anna is Anna too.
and it's a split screen experience, and it's super fun because it's kind of like a platformer, and there's some sort of like third person shooting elements, a lot of environmental puzzles, and so you have to do those things in unison with the other character, right? So like you have to push buttons at the same time, or you have to go two separate routes but do it synchronously, or a lot of times in the game, each level you'll get like a different power or ability for one character and a different one for the other, but they are necessary to be used together. So like the stage that we just played, I was shooting like tree sap at stuff, and then she was throwing matchsticks at them that would trigger explosions. So that was like a really fun mechanic. And then the boss battles where where both characters really have to play their part are all really excellent. That's where the game shines the most. And the best part is, what I learned is that if you play online, only one person needs to have the game or own the game.
Yeah.
So like anybody, you can invite anybody else in
Where's
to
my
play.
invite, Brian?
Hey, I'm still going with Anna for right now.
All right.
But we can
takes
go a
priority.
second time.
All right.
And then the other co-op game, the physical one, is a tabletop game called Marvel Champions.
When you said
living
physical, I
card
thought you
game.
meant a disc, and I was like, why are you like making?
No, not
the
board game, Brian. Come on.
Board game, man. This is also like a really super fun co-op experience. It's kind of like it's a little bit like Hearthstone, if anybody has played that collectible card game on your phone.
Nerd.
Where it's sort of like taking like the Magic the Gathering kind of experience, but doing it in a co-op setting, and you're doing it with Marvel heroes. But it's not a collectible card game. It's not like you're buying, random packs. Like it all comes in a set, and then they release new sets every so often. It's just a lot of fun. Like, and the best part is it's not really like tied into the MCU. So what I love about it is that it's super campy, and you get all like the craziest secondary and tertiary characters in the Marvel universe. So like the first campaign is a fight against Rhino, and he brings out Shocker to help him. And the next one you're fighting
Savon is grinning
Claw and the Masters of Evil, and then
Squirrel
the
Girl?
heroes that they include. I bet she's gonna make an appearance.
Excuse me, what
There's
did
a
you
character
just
called
say?
Squirrel Girl who has
Squirrels.
squirrel-based
Squirrel
powers.
Girl?
She actually defeats the. She has
Squirrel?
squirrel-like physiology, can climb, move around with her squirrel tail, can psionically command squirrels. She actually defeats Dr. Doom.
Savannah's so serious right now.
You're really like seriously like explaining
You asked.
Squirrel Girl to me right now.
Squirrel Girl.
A couple shows
No,
ago,
but I'm just
he
saying
explained
like
about Scotch Tape
like
Man.
completely
So.
deadpan. Like no, like haha, this is kind of campy. Simon's like, no,
Yeah,
she's
Squirrel Girl.
actually
You know
like pretty
Squirrel Girl.
balanced when you consider her in like the grand scheme of things. Like she's actually a
Hey,
pretty good
man.
character.
She's great at both melee
Hey, if
and
you
ranged
if you
attack.
can swarm somebody with squirrels, that's genuinely useful. I could knock your power out all up on your bumper.
You did it unironically. I literally just made fun of you for doing that, and you just went right into
Hey, that's how I feel.
Nice. What does the LCG stand for? You said Marvel Champions LCG.
living card game. Living card game.
Living card game.
As
Okay,
opposed to
all right.
collectible card game. Like
Gotcha.
Magic the Gathering.
All right. I just listened to I think it was a Planet Money about Magic the Gathering and how they ran into the problem of the rare cards starting to be sold on aftermarkets for like way too much money, and they didn't want that to happen because they felt like it ruined like the actual gameplay.
Yeah, because
and
people were just chasing after those rare cards
For money, right?
right, and so
and
the
monstering
game
people.
became
Yeah.
much more secondary to the collecting market, and so the people there actually used math and like economics to figure out how to keep that from happening too much.
They use
Min-max
I think
it,
it's
am I
pretty
right?
economics.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool, right?
It's like, you know, like
they
the
had it,
doctors
and
use
it-
science to come up with a COVID vaccine.
Science.
and they wanted the game to exist for a long time. They didn't want it to be like a bubble where everybody got really excited, everybody pumped all this money into collectibles, and then it just became no fun.
They didn't want
and everybody
capitalism to
stopped playing.
ruin the
And
game
so-
because people let's just keep
Yeah.
it a bug.
So because of that, the game has been going for what, like 20 or 30 years at this point. And so that, I don't know, it is interesting. Anyways, Planet Money, check it out. I always recommend Planet Money. My what I'm loving this week has been, shout out to friend of the show, sister of the show, Alexis, put me on Mighty Ducks Game Changers, which objectively probably not like an amazing show, but
You
for
don't
most
say.
people, yeah, but for most people, I think it's actually pretty enjoyable. It's got a high enough quality that like it's watchable. It's like it's heartfelt. There's some good chuckle moments. The stories are interesting. It does certainly bring out like some of the like nostalgia factor, right? They do bring up storylines or characters or callbacks to some of the first couple movies. But that is not they're not intent on just recreating Mighty Ducks the original. Like it's its own thing. And it's all in the same world and it's very clearly tied in, but it's just a really like fun, lighthearted show that has a lot of heart. It's funny. I look forward to it. Like when it comes out, I'm like, oh, like how many more days till Mighty Ducks comes out? Because it's just enjoyable.
Oh, it's
So,
released weekly, like
Yeah,
the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
it's on Disney Plus. I don't know how many episodes they're gonna do. I think they've got 6 now, and certainly the first 4 are probably the strongest of the 6 so far. But they're all enjoyable. So
What we want to
check it
really
out.
know though, are the Smash Brothers in it? Is there Knuckle
Is
Puck time?
Squirrel Girl in it?
Wait, Knuckle Puck Guy is not part of the Smash Brothers, but is Squirrel Girl in it? No, not at all. But some of the old characters, it's not a surprise. Some of the old characters do make an appearance here and there, and there's some cameos. And in this last episode, there was quite a few cameos from the original movie, so that's kind of cool.
Can I say
Uh,
something before we move on?
Yeah,
So, first off, like you said, huge shout out to sister of the show, Alexis. So, I reposted something of hers when she shouted us out. And also, if you're listening and you haven't shouted out our show, or you haven't, you should feel pretty
yeah, we
bad.
would love that.
Yeah, so go
Tell your
ahead and
friends
do
about
it.
us.
You know who you are. But anyway, so I followed her on Instagram. Your sister is glamorous, Wesley. She's like posting modeling shoots. She's out on like beautiful vacations and like nice. Did that gene just like skip
God,
you
really?
or like what's going on?
Ouch! Ouch!
Damn, off the top rope.
Annihilated. It's
Staring
Saturday
at that
morning.
bicycle in your
Airstrike.
background.
Jeez Louise.
Wesley's play. Well, I mean, like that's also self-deprecating. Like Wesley's playing Apex with us idiots. Like, why are you not at vineyards and like getting modeling shoots? Like, I need to see some more balance in the Nakamura siblings here.
Maybe they're just duality
My
siblings.
sister.
They're compliments. They're perfect for It Takes Two.
And that may sound like Alexis is very glamorous. She is not. She's very much like at home, but she does have her moments where she likes to go out and party, and she's a lot younger than me and just enjoys that way more than I do. And she did. She treated herself to a 30. She's 30 now. She turned 30. So she treated herself to a little photo shoot. And really enjoyed her photos. So props to her for doing that. I would never do that. That is not something that is enjoyable to me.
When this show blows up, when that comfy money comes in, first thing we're doing is Wesley.
Yeah,
modeling
man.
shoots.
We can get
Absolutely.
Tyler's a
Oh, hell
photographer,
yeah.
man. Like
Absolutely.
all
We
my
know.
Yeah,
all
absolutely.
my
Yes,
photos,
yes.
Yeah.
he could definitely have you dripped out, bro.
Yeah, we know that Savon
No,
would
I'm
be
talking
great in
about
front of
every-
the camera. We also know equally. We know that I would also
You
be
say that.
terrible in front
You
of
say
the
that.
camera.
I'm not
absolutely.
photogenic.
No, you will absolutely be. the
Yeah, you'll
face
be
of
a
the
real
show.
pretty MF.
There's not a chance. There's not a chance. Yeah, so that's what I'm loving. Thanks, Mike, for making me feel awesome on
Love
this
you,
Saturday.
love you, Wes.
War crimes.
All right, Savon, what are you loving?
What I'm loving. So lately, I have been trying to throw out some of just the old books on my childhood shelf because I just had all my books since I've never thrown out my books.
Hold on, we're gonna do that again. You said this book was amazing.
I'm giving some
and yet
context. You
started
hear
off with
me?
woes. I was just
Yeah,
cleaning up
give
my
some
shelf,
context.
and
No,
it was
I'm
fine.
giving context. I'm cleaning out old books.
Every
You're
things,
talking about this
every
like you
story
just
Savon
making your coffee or
Yeah.
pouring yourself a bowl of cereal, bro. Like
Yeah,
you said,
I
you
do.
love this book. I want to hear
I
it.
guess I'm gonna continue roasting here because
go with the build.
every story Savon has about something he enjoys starts with an errand. It's always
I was just
chore.
I'm like
Yeah,
a mom,
I was
like a
cleaning.
mom on a recipe
Yeah.
website. Well, I was in my garden and I was gonna make some fried rice and grilled cheese for the kids. No, but now, real talk.
Go on.
So similar with American Gods, I've had the book World War Z for like years. The book came out in like 06, 07. So I was 13 when I got this book. I was a teenager, right? Nothing like how I am now. I've lived twice as much life since then. So I wanted to
Teenager.
reread it because a lot of those books I was reading, I'm like, oh, I was a kid. Half that stuff went over my head, or I just wasn't worldly enough to really appreciate it. So I've been rereading it. It is nothing like the movie. The movie shouldn't even exist. It's absolute garbage. World War Z, I'm rereading, is just an amazing read. So it's written by Max Brooks, son of Mel Brooks. It's a zombie anthology novel. And the premise of the book is that it takes place 20 years after the end of a zombie apocalypse event. And the idea is that a man who's an interviewer is interviewing people from all over the world, from different walks of life and experiences, cataloging what their experiences with the zombie apocalypse were. And the book is broken into multiple parts, so you learn about the build-up, the panic, things popping off, things at its worst, and then the recovery.
So I asked you this earlier. This has nothing to do with the movie.
No.
How does that happen?
In name, basically they wanted to sell, when they sold the rights to it, they wanted to basically win people over by saying, hey, here's this movie named after this book, but we're not going to have any of the stuff that was in the book be in the movie.
Yikes.
That's
it is
such
World
a
War Z
weird
in
thing to
literally
do.
name only.
That's so
It is a
Mainly
great name.
because, to be clear, World War Z, just to know how different it is, World War Z is an anthology. So it is a bunch of separate... The book is literally told through a series of just different interviews. But they talk about, America falls apart because of, honestly, how we handled COVID-19, of just complacency, laziness, our culture, not taking it seriously until it pops off. And what's really fun with the book is that the strong point really sells just how different societies handled this pandemic and really showing what the political ramifications were. So like Israel, for example, goes full isolationist and they actually handle it better than almost any other country.
Sounds
to
familiar.
To the point where
I'm not
they
touching that.
no, like they crush it, but to the point where they actually open their borders to let Palestinians through to show it's in good faith. And
Doesn't sound familiar.
Yeah.
But wait,
So,
but there's one entire...
in case you were wondering if this
It's
was
a fantasy
fictional.
novel.
Yeah.
So, but that's the thing. When they talk about these people and these governments and like their mentalities behind it, it does make a lot of sense in the context of a zombie apocalypse. One character in that chapter is a young Palestinian boy who's the son of a janitor who actually works within Israel, and he's trying to take advantage of his job to get his family asylum. And the son, who's Palestinian, obviously hates Israel and doesn't trust it, to where his dad has to beat him and make him come. But once the world starts to actually collapse, and actually there is a civil war that almost pops off within Israel over people having split feelings about the refugee, but they touch on that in some capacity in almost every major society. Like the United States government falls apart because we try to use classic war tactics to fight zombies. And I guess what's really dope about the book is that it really breaks down how different countries handled this pandemic, and it's really fun to see what the parallels are between a fictional zombie apocalypse that for a 15-year-old book and how we've handled COVID-19. And the overlap is intriguing to say the least, but there was a lot of government stuff that went over my head as a kid. I highly recommend it. It's not a hard read. It's not a long book either. It's mostly just reading interviews, so it's a pretty fun, easy read, but highly recommend World War Z. Don't watch the movie. It's
So you're
garbage
saying
water.
we've handled COVID really well. We've done all the right things.
It really just shows that people are just really incompetent, and in fiction, reality really is not that far from fiction. A lot of the dumb stuff that happens in the book happened in real life with COVID.
Ugh, awesome. Good times.
I'm waiting for the undead to attack us.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, that's what I Am Legend starts with. Is everyone turns into zombies because of a vaccine to like cancer.
Yeah, like tried to like cure cancer, right?
Yeah.
That just went completely.
So I mean, we're halfway there, and that loops back to I Am Legend is another like strange movie adaptation of a book that has nothing to do with the book.
Well, I hope that I don't turn into a zombie. We'll see. We'll give it a couple years.
Yeah, I Am Legend was a great book.
So I wanted to talk about Breath of the Wild. I've heard about this game a lot. I don't own a Switch. It comes up on our show a lot.
You know who does own a Switch? But I'll let you finish.
As we heard in the intro, Savon has not played it and owned it, and we were quite shocked. But I wanted to just talk about it, maybe give it a little love. If anybody else hasn't played it, I kind of want to talk about it in a non-spoiler way, just about like what makes it so good and what people would expect from playing it and like why they should play it. But before we get there, Mike, I'm going to ask you, can you explain the premise of the game really quickly?
Yeah, it is a Zelda open world game. So you play as Link. It's 100 years after like an apocalyptic event, and Ganon completely took over Hyrule. And then what they tried to do in the original fight 100 years ago was there were 4 champions that built these crazy machines in an attempt to fight Ganon. He won. He corrupted those machines, so now they're kind of working for him. He also corrupted a lot of the other, they made smaller little machines to fight him. Essentially, it's a very open, it's like truly an open world game. Like all you have to do is defeat Ganon. That's the one objective it gives you. I don't know if you can do it, Brian, without killing the champions. Or saving the champions.
I want to say people probably have.
Most people
have figured out a lot of things in this game.
Yeah, most people know the game, so I'm not going to go too much into the actual story, but in terms of the actual like the gameplay concepts, it's a true sandbox. The world has very defined rules of physics that you can apply in any way. So if, for instance, one awesome example is you can't climb up things when they're wet. That's a tiny kind of example, but if you're carrying weather's a big part of it with the rain. If you're carrying metal on you and there's lightning, you can get struck by lightning. Gravity is a huge part of it. So Immortals Phoenix stole some of that. You have some kinetic powers and things like that. But essentially, it was really groundbreaking in the well-defined world, the kind of beauty and meditativeness of it. And it's very not defined. So it's a really true open world game that is just like really fantastic. So
the map feels massive, and there's no loading in between regions of the map. You can just go from end to end on a horseback or gliding or whatever mix you want to do. You can climb every single mountain. You can go to the bottom of every single valley. You face off against whatever kind of foes you encounter along the way, whether you're ready or not. And you can find all sorts of different ways to interact with them too, right? Like how you decide what sort of like physics you choose to apply, what abilities you want to use is going to change how those villains respond to you and how the environment responds to you. And you can also chain those abilities together. So like the magnetism ability with like the electricity arrows and stuff can create some crazy combinations. And so these are the types of things that gamers have been still discovering to this day, like 3 or 4, 5 years later. I don't remember how long, but they're still figuring out these things now. And that's how richly detailed the gameplay and the physics are.
It is true.
I heard you could cook meat on the ground.
Yeah,
in a volcano.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And it also has...
Wait, what? You can cook meat?
Cooking is a big part of it.
With the heat on the ground.
Yeah, so cooking, you can go up to pots and you find different ingredients and then you mix them together and you can make different potions or things to buff your abilities. But because all it takes is heat, you don't have to cook meat in a pot if it's just hot on the ground somewhere. I think even if lightning strikes it, it'll cook it too. Anywhere where there's heat in the world can cook food. It's just like it's truly a sandbox. It's like, I think for most open world games, it's you can go anywhere. What makes this like truly unique is you can do anything. And I think Brian kind of explained better like what that actually looks like.
That almost sounds Metal Gear Solid-esque, where
Yeah,
just
but
give you
it's
a
not
huge
just
toolbox
stealth.
of things.
Yeah.
No, not the stealth part, but I mean like the world has a bunch of rules and ways that things interact, and then the rest is just like, all right, you got to get into this building. Here's all the different gameplay elements. All right, go for it.
Yeah, but this game doesn't even give you like small objectives like that. It's just like defeat Ganon and save the 4 champions.
And then how you do it is truly on you.
It's so unique, dude.
So are you doing a lot of fighting of like characters? Are you building a lot of things? Are you like
It's a lot of combat. Yeah,
resource
but you don't have
management?
to fight.
It's
Yes,
combat.
yes, and yes.
Okay.
Yeah, resource management is a
Yeah,
big
it's
part
resource
of it.
management. I've seen
Like
that.
your swords break pretty quickly, so it's like
okay.
you have to get
As do
new
your
stuff.
Seems like you should make
shields,
a
Yeah,
better
as do your
bows.
shields. Like there's like the best sword.
Doesn't
in
he
the...
have a magical shield?
Well, you can get it.
No?
Yeah,
Oh,
and you can go and get the sword, but it takes it's just so unique, man. So when we were originally going to talk about this, it was just
I
talking
thought
about
the three
the game.
of them had all played it.
No. Yeah, and you were wrong. It's not your
There
fault.
are
here,
3
Wes.
Switch owners here.
Yeah, just to be clear, this segment is attacking Savon. You got yours in the last one. And I think I want to start off this discussion with asking you, Brian, a question. Is it more disappointing that Savon has not seen Into the Spider-Verse or that he has not played Breath of the Wild?
You haven't seen Into
Wait,
the
he's
Spider-Verse?
never seen Into the Spider-Verse?
Come
Are we
on.
not
Did I
talking
do
about
that?
that on this show?
Did I do
I
something
could have
like-
done a whole
You
segment.
Did I
just
do
on
you
that.
hate
something?
Spider-Man, don't you? You hate Spider-Man. You left him out of your top 5. You left him out of your drip list. You haven't watched Into
What
the
is the issue?
Spider-Verse.
Like, what is the
Come
problem?
on.
But anyway, we don't need to go down that road. But the question
What?
stands, Brian. Which is either not just disappointing, which does
I'm
Savon
like-
need to feel worse
I'm
about? Which
floored.
does he need to do? I know. It's
I'm physically incapable of feeling shame.
welcome to my world, Wesley. I have a whole encyclopedia of these things for Savon. Like, we could do
Savon
a whole podcast.
infractions.
Ugh.
Yeah, Savon's
Injustices.
infractions.
So I get it. Maybe you just don't like Spider-Man. Okay, fine. Take that aside. You are a Switch owner. The
You have
reason
what
to
you
get a
need.
Switch.
You could borrow the
is
game.
to play Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Also,
I
yeah.
got a Switch to play Smash Ultimate.
Oh my! I
No,
bought the Switch
wrong
to
game.
play this game. I've only really played Hades after it, and I'm happy with the purchase.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how I feel with Smash.
But
like this is their masterpiece on that console and for a lot of consoles.
people
It's
say this
basically-
is arguably the greatest game ever.
yeah.
No
It's
cap.
definitely my
Okay,
favorite game.
okay. Can I defend myself?
No, I mean, yeah, but
Alright.
it's not gonna
No,
work.
how-
I mean, go
like,
ahead, but like,
How do you invest in a Switch? Like
like? What is
Yeah.
the point? Well, you could have emulated it on a goddamn like phone, like.
I'll play
and
Super
you
Smash
and you
Bros.
love open world games.
I
I
do.
don't get it.
And Savon
This
is
is
so
the
thoughtful,
open world game.
and it's like
Is
it's
it on
actually
your list?
perfect for you. No, it's not even on his list until we started
he's not
talking
even
about
interested.
it. No, he's not interested. That's what this whole
Wow.
thing is. It's
Okay.
like he doesn't even care. He doesn't care
Nah,
about the
no, no, no.
Spider-Verse.
So-
All
no.
the things that you talked about Ghost of Tsushima that you like,
I
the meditative
know,
aspect.
and it's like that's just a
through the
beefed up
roof
version.
of Breath
I
of the
know.
Wild.
I just never played. I just was never someone who played a lot of Zelda growing up. So
I
I've
have
always
never
respected
played a
the
Zelda
series.
game in my
Listen,
life.
I've always
I
respected
can't.
the series. I've never thought that the games were bad, but they were also games I just never got hyped over, even though I knew that they were fundamentally, objectively good games. Like the last Zelda game I played top to bottom was Twilight Princess, which I loved.
I love that game too.
I love Twilight Princess. And
I've
that's
never
when I had a
heard of it.
Wii and I had the game. It was the one for Nintendo Wii.
I thought that was
And it was
Ocarina
dope.
of Time.
That's
that was
Nintendo 64.
Point is, I enjoyed the Zelda game I played, but that was just not one of my Nintendo franchises that I played.
Savon, I have never
so I
played
just never was.
a Zelda game. Prior to this, I never owned an actual Nintendo console, and it was an immediate buy for that game.
So what you want me to do, son?
I want you to. I will. Like someone listening to this definitely has the game that we can get over Savon.
No,
you need to
this isn't
buy
about
the
getting my-
game
I can
today.
get my hands
Everyone
on the game,
send
not a
your
problem.
copy
Yeah,
to
to
Savon.
Savon.
Because all of us
I
have
can
beat
get
it
my
already.
hands on. I can get
Yeah.
my hands on the game. Gosh,
Then-
Would he enjoy it, Mike?
Yes. Yes.
I know I'd
Okay.
enjoy it.
Yes,
I would.
you would enjoy it in a deep way, I think. And like Savon's
I
gonna
like
come in
Red
on the
Dead.
next podcast. It's like Savon like loves Red Dead for like the open world and like the sandbox.
I
and
literally
all-
play Red Dead and listen to podcasts and hunt and cook meat. I do that on
You
Red
can-
Dead online.
He just simulates. It's like Westworld. He just wants to simulate living in the
Yeah.
Wild West.
but just like the boring chores part of
But
it.
you can do that in Breath of the Wild in a really satisfying way.
Yeah, I just wanna be a black dude in the 1800s with my rifle, hunting deer, eating with my dog at my camp with my homies.
You cannot be a black dude.
So maybe if Link is black.
Yeah,
so maybe
that's
what it is.
There
Maybe
might
if I
be a
could create
mod.
my own legend. Maybe if I could create my own little black Link, I'll be in that joint.
I think you would love the game, and I think you would be one of the people that like plays it for longevity, just like figuring out the different stuff you could do. Like that's
Mike,
not me.
I know I would. I know for a fact I would.
Then
But
like
that's a
I've
can of
never
worms.
met
That's a hell of a
anybody that knows this and just like is just like, I'm not gonna do it.
Because sometimes it's the same reason I like stop playing modded Skyrim and Minecraft. It's like, am I prepared to open this can of worms again in my life?
It's so much breezier than Skyrim. Like,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
a lot
I'm
of people
talking
make
modded
that
Skyrim,
comparison.
where I would
but
like hack the game and make all kinds of super custom stuff. Like that's a rabbit hole that's like, am I prepared to
but
be
this
able
is
to?
different.
I think Breath
Y'all
of
will
the
not see
Wild.
me on Apex. What you doing? I'm actually in this dungeon right now, son. I'm gonna just see y'all next week.
I mean, I agree with you. You could definitely lose yourself in Breath of the Wild for like ages
I
and
know I
ages,
will,
which
'cause
I
I do it in
definitely
the-
did at one point. But at the same time, I do think it's such a great game that you could just pop in for 20 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And have a good time. You just
Oh,
fuck
yeah.
around with some of the other monsters, or go hunt something, try to jump on a mystic deer maybe. And it's fun. It's totally gratifying because the world is so immersive and all the mechanics are very tight.
All right, I got a homie who let me borrow it.
All right. All
He's
right.
been telling me to play it for years anyway, so I'll borrow it from him.
Did you just text him? I hope you just texted him.
Yeah. You better. Like we need some deliverables at the end of this episode here, Savon.
Can we get some screen caps?
But again, I want to ask the question. I just want to know is and we don't need to go into it, but is Spider-Verse or Breath of the Wild a bigger deal?
I think the fact that he owns a Switch means that this
but he
is
owns
a bigger
the
deal.
TV.
Fair point.
I've already
fair point.
named that I'm just bad at watching movies by myself. Like I couldn't tell you the last time I watched a movie.
It's 2 hours or an hour and a
Yeah,
half.
I know. It's not about time. I can watch shows by myself. I just don't
Yeah.
like watching movies by myself. It's just not fun.
All right,
You
well
will
then-
feel so good
gotta-
after you watch Into the Spider-Verse.
When
I
everybody
don't
gets
feel
vaccinated
anything.
in your group, Mike and Tyler will go over and watch it with you.
We're
don't worry,
chipped up,
Kindle-
baby. We're
Don't
ready
worry.
to
Yeah,
go.
don't worry.
Yeah.
Kindle's already.
Yeah, we're ready to
run
go.
Me over
Like-
rake me over the coals.
Good. Well, shout out friend of the show, Kendall.
Well,
Alright.
find Memorial Day weekend. Y'all should fire up Spider-Verse.
Savon is going to
on,
be
somebody's
staying
big
at
TV.
my house Memorial Day weekend, and I'm going to
Okay.
like set my TV to not play anything else until that movie is watched in its entirety.
You gotta like Clockwork Orange him.
Yeah, just pry your
You'll
like,
like it.
Peel his eyeballs open and make sure he sits and watches.
Man, y'all are really frustrated with me right now. I'm loving this.
And Savon, you've probably heard some parts of Spider-Verse, so I think you would like it. I think you'd be into it.
I mean, I know the gist of the
Savon
story.
would
That's fine.
love it. It's
Yeah,
so...
you would
I know. Okay, it's okay to know that I like
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
but also be like, yo, this is hard to fit into
Yeah.
my other stuff I like too.
Bro,
Like
I
a lot of-
know
Shelve
you.
the
You
other
are
stuff.
not busy.
You don't know my life.
You were cleaning out your bookshelves
Yeah. oh
and
my
rereading
God. World
novels
War Z.
from half your age.
Savon is like spending so much time reading things he's like lukewarm on and is like not sure if he likes it or not, doesn't like it, but just wants to talk. Maybe is that it? Like if it's something so good, you're scared of it because you can't be on either side of the fence about it. Is that
He
the
just has to
issue?
be all in.
Dare you? The audacity of this jabron.
All right,
you just
so for
like that
someone like
tepid
me,
bath.
yeah, for someone like me who maybe has never been into Nintendo games since like N64, has never really played a Zelda game. I think on the original Nintendo, I probably played Zelda at other people's houses. They had the like shiny gold chrome version of it, the cartridge that you plug in.
Ooh,
But-
8-bit version.
But I've never played Zelda games, and I've never really been into too many Nintendo games since maybe Super Mario 64 or something.
That's a
Is it
travesty.
worth-
I don't know.
Finding.
I honestly actually
Is
now
it
that I'm
worth
thinking
finding the
about it,
$500 to buy a Switch and the game at some
One,
point?
I don't
Let's say in
think
the
it's-
next
it's
year.
not
saving up
$500. We're talking
It's probably like
300
$250 now.
Yeah,
Isn't it
like-
$400 for a Switch?
No,
I think it's
bro.
$3.
No way.
Switch is part of what makes Switch great is that it's way more affordable than the other consoles, and it's way more portable.
I think you can get
All
the
right.
light one for like 200.
I don't want the light one. I want to play it on my computer or like my TV. Right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you want to play it on the
Breath
big
of the
screen.
Wild, you got to play on a TV.
So here-
I
Yeah,
tried playing it
here's-
on a bus,
Action.
not great.
Here's the thing I will say for you, Wes, or
Okay,
for the,
would I
for
like
the
it?
average person. Well,
Yeah.
then we'll talk about you because I think those are two different answers. I think
Okay.
the average person
Wes,
can't
you're
take
above
that.
average.
Yeah.
get if you're like a casual gamer, like get a Switch.
I'd say I'm
get
casual
Breath
with
of the
most
Wild.
games. Okay.
No, but like you play a lot of games. I think that like there are way more people that like don't play video games and love Breath of the Wild than there are people that are like, lukewarm on video games and would be down for like all this stuff on a PS5.
It's $300 for the regular Switch.
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like
$300
I got mine
plus
for
whatever the game
$250,
costs, what, like $70 or something, $60.
$60.
It might be worth it if you could find a game you and Jen could get into.
Yeah.
Like, I like my Switch when my nieces and stuff are around.
And the
We-
Switch is
we've played
perfect for those
Overcooked.
co-op games.
Have you ever
Now-
played Overcooked? That game's fun.
Overcooked, Snipper Clips, Moving Out, all that stuff. Great on the Switch.
Portal.
All right.
So
Mike,
here's
you said
the
for
thing.
average gamer.
Go with Breath of the Wild. Now,
'Kay.
I don't know, now that I'm thinking about it, and Brian, you can also chime in here. I don't know if you would like the game less, because you are very much not about the journey. You are about like the end and I'm not saying this to like roast you, but like with
It's like, get to the point.
yeah, you like the resolution. You like to feel
Yeah.
you're progressing towards the resolution, and
Sure.
that which this
Side
game,
quests?
it's probably
Yeah.
why I haven't finished God of War.
And you're also
That's
very
also
particular
pretty
about
pointed, though.
storytelling as well.
Yeah.
And you're
This
going to be
is
like, what?
this
They-
is
They just had to
very-
fight Ganon?
This game
Like,
is
it's
like
Zelda.
no structured, just vibes. And like
Oh my god, you can see Wes just like, oh, absolutely
Let's
not.
just hit like a I think
Alright.
I think most people would enjoy it, but I think because you have like a lot of experience in similar games that you would like
Are
you
different though.
Yeah, but you couldn't view this in a vacuum, and I think most people viewing this in a vacuum would see the beauty in it, but I think you might get frustrated with like, what am
It's
I
not
doing? What
more
am I-
like The Last of Us.
But then also like the counterpoint to that is there are 4 main objectives, right? Like you go to the region is unique, you have to fight the enemies there to free the champion. And like you do that 4 times and that's pointed, and like you do feel like you're progressing that. But
Did you like Red Dead?
I didn't play it yet. Haven't
What?
played it yet.
how
Yeah, it's
do
one of the
we
ones I
have
played.
a show where
Well, I'm
anybody's
saying,
supposed to respect what we say about these things?
Well, that makes sense. No, I'm just asking because Red Dead, I think, is endemic of that, where like Red Dead is very much a smell the flowers type game.
Oh, I
and
disagree.
slow
It's
paced.
Is
broken
it?
up into chapters. It's like you
No, you
feel
kind of
like
just
you're
follow point to point if you want. There's another way to play it.
Yeah, but the pacing, I mean, is very. It's not a fast paced game. There's a lot of just exposition.
but
is my
it
point.
doesn't need to be we're talking about this. I'm getting an email from Nintendo like, "Hey, Mike, you've earned reward points." Red Dead is like broken up into chapters, and you feel multiple, like 7 times throughout the game. Okay, I've completed this section. I'm moving on to the next one. Within each chapter, there's like a pretty distinct story, and you kind of progress it that way. Breath of the Wild does not do that. Like you do feel like a bit of progression when you beat one of the champions, but it's a lot of the meat of it is just vibes. It's just really kind of
Interesting.
going along with it.
I don't know if I would like that or not. Like, I mean, I think part of the appeal for me of like Horizon Zero Dawn and The Last of Us 2 was certainly like the storytelling. You got to do different objectives along the way, and there weren't. I don't know if I love side quests as much. Like I'm playing God of War and there's a lot of side quests, and sometimes that actually makes me exhausted. Not exhausted. It makes me tired thinking like, well, should I continue with the main story or should I like continue doing these side things to like level up my character? Or am I like able to move forward? I'm not really sure. And I'm like, well, if I go past a certain point, am I going to be able to come back, right? Because the game changes as you go. So I'm not sure, like, oh, do I keep moving forward at the risk of like not being able to come back to that certain point? And so God of War has just sort of been languishing. I'm still, I'm progressing, but very slowly now.
Well, the beauty of Breath of the Wild is like you can do whatever the hell you want. Like, however you want to approach it, you just do it. Like, like I was saying earlier, I think there are players who just go straight for Ganon.
But like, is that a good thing? Like in real life, I could do that. I can go running wherever I want. I can, I can already do that in real life, but I don't play video games necessarily to just
you
wander
can't
around.
cook with lightning in the real
It is-
world.
Yeah, you can.
It is
You
a
go,
matter-
like,
it is
can
a
you
matter of
climb up a
interest.
mountain and then glide off of it like for miles?
I mean, it's just what you want. It's like what you want out the game.
Yeah, I
Some
don't
people
know.
want to
Yeah,
zen out
well,
and
yeah.
explore. Some people want a concise story. Like, you got to ask yourself.
But you can do that. Like, if you just progress through it rapidly, like I did, because honestly, that's me too. I do not I get very overwhelmed. I get bored easily. I kind of move through it quickly, and I
still loved it though.
In the past couple of years, I've consciously reformed myself from not being a completionist in open world games, because every open world game was the same thing. The first 2 regions, I get 100% of everything. I go everywhere, and then I get burnt out and I grind through it, and I never appreciate the end. Like, you can have whatever you want in this game. Like, you can approach it however you want, and your experience with it could be whatever you want. And all
right, well, if we got any Austin listeners who would loan me a Switch for a couple of months, how long do you think it would take? A month?
Do you want to swap consoles? I'll take your PS5 for a couple.
Ship it up there. But then I couldn't play Apex with these guys. I don't know. I don't think I'd give it with the PS5.
I'll play as your character and deteriorate your rank.
I got a terrible KD to protect. I don't know if I want you playing.
It's about the wins, not the. I mean, it's about.
I got terrible win percentage too, so I don't know if I need you.
I'm trying to uplift you, and you're purposely jumping down.
All right. Well, listeners out there, if you got a Switch for me to borrow or Breath of the Wild, maybe BK's out there being like, "Hey, I got you." So BK, if you got that to let me borrow,
y'all can't read backwards.
No. Also, it's too bright. You can't see it.
Yeah. This is me texting my friend saying, yes, LOL, yeah, I have it. I said, do you have Breath of the Wild still? I'm being roasted for not playing it right now. Responded, LOL, yeah, I have it.
All right.
So
we'll get a report on that.
Look at that.
Now y'all can
Changing
kindly hop off my
lives.
jockstrap, and I can continue living my best life.
What? Like I said, I have a whole encyclopedia.
You're
of
clearly
things
not
we
living
need
your
to
best
get
life.
I was
Yeah.
making some tea, I was eating some chips, and I came across this cartridge, and I was like, oh, I actually do have Breath of the Wild. Decided to pop it in. It's been pretty fun, guys.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Mike is just bursting at the seams in salt right now.
All right. I was gonna ask if there's any type of gamer that would not enjoy Breath of the Wild, but it feels like it's time to wrap up. It seems like pretty much
anybody
every,
that is
gamer.
like you. I think no joke, people that approach games similar to you might not enjoy it, but I think by and large most people would.
So if you need the I got the points,
structure,
I got the next
progression, gratification,
okay, you might not love this game, but everybody else would pretty much enjoy it. I think I would enjoy it. I think there's something in it for me. It sounds.
Yeah, I think you're smart enough to enjoy it. that sound really wrong. Came it out of my mouth. That sounded like some Rick and Morty shit. You need to have a high IQ.
Well, you're hating on me. Mike refuses to watch Rick and Morty because of the fan base.
No, I've seen the first
it's
3
not
seasons.
that awesome.
I just need to watch the last one. It's just I don't go publicly talking about that I enjoy that show, because then people start thinking oh well, do you want to there's a Aryan Brotherhood meeting after this? Do you want to go to that?
Yikes.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yikes.
Oh, this is a white guy
Damn.
thing.
Mike's
Yikes.
tapped into some crazy shit.
No, I was genuinely
Who's
confused.
inviting
I was
you to
like,
those
oh,
meetings?
Maybe not Aryan Brotherhood, but it's just it's become red pilled. It's like Joker
it's like a-
fans, It's I
Oh,
love the
okay.
Joker, but I'm not talking about it because then people think I'm some kind of creep. I saw a car the other day. It had all the different Jokers on it, Jack Nicholson on it. It was,
That's
and
too
I saw it outside of the grocery store, and I was like, I don't know if I should go in, bro.
That's real. That's
Yeah.
real. You can't
It's
be
like
a
if
fan
you
of the
don't
Joker.
wear
He's
a
still
mask and people assume you're Republican.
He's still a suicidal, crazy person.
abusive
If you tell
Yeah.
people you like Rick and Morty, they assume you like Joe Rogan and Ben Shapiro. This is just
Oh,
facts.
well.
down.
This
I'm
is
glad
just-
people don't
This
think
is
so.
just
I like Rick
facts.
and Morty, but I guess I have a culture buffer to.
Yeah, maybe I'm also coming at this through the white lens.
Yeah, 'cause I'm like, God forbid someone associate me with Ben Shapiro.
All right, gentlemen. Well, that was another cracking, fun episode. Hit us up on our Instagram and our Twitter at confidently_pod. Leave us a comment. Tell your friends about us. Guys, put us in those stories. Put us in your TikToks. Whatever you need to do, get
Trying
the
to
word
get
out.
that comfy money, baby.
Hey, we're trying to get paid for this because our
no,
show
we're
is
not.
awesome.
We just want
It's-
gratification from our listeners. Please
That's true,
listen
too.
to us.
we just want the
I want
likes.
both.
I mean,
y'all.
they could also
Pay
send
me
us
in
money.
gratification
Yeah.
and money.
Yeah, Brian said he was going to hook us up with some what is it called? Consultant hookup. So we'll see how that turns out.
Friend of the
Thanks,
show,
Brian.
Matt Rodriguez, hooked that.
Yeah, what up, Matt?
Matt, we're waiting for your call. We've got you. We're gonna accept all the 866 calls that are coming our way just in case it's you. Thanks, man. All right, we're out. Bye, friends.
We out. Yeah, meanwhile you're sitting here. Meanwhile I'm just out here
Yeah,
getting
at least you
unloaded
know about it.
into-
I don't know anything about it, and they're like, that guy's just an idiot. We don't care about
Meanwhile,
him.
I'm just apex down, no knockdown shield, getting thirsted by Brian. Like,